Tell us a little bit about you.
Sure. I'm a mom. Uh, Probably that's the first thing that I would think of when I think about myself. I am a mental health advocate. I speak on mental health issues, mostly as a survivor of suicide.
Yeah.
And I lost my husband 3 years ago. That's definitely part of my story. And he had bipolar disorder and had addiction issues most of our marriage. I would say probably all of our marriage. He was a very sensitive person, which I think that a lot of people that have mental illness are extremely sensitive people. I think they feel things more acutely than other people do. That sensitivity, when they have a traumatic event is a very real injury to the brain. And I think that that's hard to recover from. And sometimes, especially when you aren't supported by your family, your parents, the people around you aren't giving you guidance or sending you to therapy or saying, how can we help you or what can we do for you? And even when you do that, sometimes people have to find the right path for them that works for them. And it's a hard thing to do. And you really have to want that. It's not something for me to want for him, which I did.
Yeah.
And I, tried many different things, but you can't make somebody want that. It's harder to feel the feelings than to shove them down to them. They don't know that that's actually going to make everything better. It's that fear of pain is more important than having pleasure of not feeling that feeling anymore, because they don't know that's going to happen. Need connection. That was the first thing that came to my mind, is that the first things that I thought about weren't really myself. It was more of what my husband had gone through and what he was going through at the end of his life. And I had tried for such a long time to get him to connect to his illness. And so that lack of connection is so prevalent in society. I mean, everyone's doing their own thing and not really paying attention. And I think COVID-19 is changing that in a lot of ways. I think we're waking up to what we were missing. Now that it's not self-imposed anymore, now that it's it's become kind of the new normal, which is not good for anybody either. But I think that the human condition, humans aren't meant to live in isolation, and they're not meant to be alone, and they're not meant to be judged for who they are, and especially when it comes to an illness. Of all things, I mean, it just seems like the strangest thing for stigma to be surrounded to an illness that people have, no control over whatsoever. Exactly. I mean, there's plenty of things you can do for an illness. You should be taking care of yourself in the ways just like you'd be taking care of yourself for any other illness. And if you don't, there will be consequences to that. But I just think that people are very judgmental in the way they think about mental illness sometimes. And I think that conversation is beginning to shift a bit. And that's wonderful. And I think talking about it, the more we talk about it, as like my first experience with death to be, really close death to me. And it just threw me completely for a loop. But talking to people about it when I got here was, I don't know if it was more of, I was very sure of that I wanted to do that. And I think probably part of it was self-preservation, because I didn't have the strength to even think about another thing to come up with. It was important for me to talk about it, but I didn't know how that first conversation was going to go. I had no idea. So when I had the first conversation and I said, this is what happened, and we had this conversation, and the person said, oh my gosh, you know, I lost my dad to suicide, or oh my gosh, I worry about, you know, my brother all the time. He's got manic depression and I'm worried about him and I don't know what to do. And everyone has a story and a connection to mental health, suicide, and addiction. It's become so universal that it touches every family. It has such a huge ripple effect, and people don't talk about it. And it's